Nikhil, welcome to the Future of Money series. We're proud to have you on. To our listeners, Nikhil is an attorney at Foley and Lardner. They are a leading law firm with nationally recognized practices in areas including securities, financial and commercial litigation, trademark and copyright, and business law. Nikhil, great to have you.
Yeah, Parth, thanks so much.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up at Foley and Lardner.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the majority of my practice is intellectual property. So a lot of what I do is helping companies identify and protect their innovations across a variety of different technology areas, as well as navigate the protections that their competition has, and also support different kinds of collaboration. So licensing agreements, development agreements, things like that. As my career has progressed with Foley, I've gotten involved a lot in the AI space. So helping companies that are either AI first, really at the cutting edge of these technologies, as well as looking to implement them into their existing platforms and use that to level everything up.
So now that we've had a little bit about your background, what are you most passionate about in these verticals that you work in? What's something that you really enjoy researching or working with on a daily basis?
For me, and this is maybe a common refrain for a lot of people who work in this area, it's really being able to learn about a lot of different technologies and see things that are at the cutting edge and see how companies are deploying them and using them to solve customer problems and create real value in the market, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence and the financial space as well. It seems like while things are still pretty early, there's a real moment here where there are a lot of opportunities for these technologies to work together and really expand the reach of what customers can access and what tools they have available, democratize things that have maybe been centralized in the past, or help people find ways to create value from the data they already have, the knowledge they already have, and kind of get a bigger platform for getting value for that.
That's great. Yeah. So then how do you see the application of digital assets and blockchain AI affecting the legal industry? And how does that somewhat carry over to the work you do on a daily basis? How does it affect the clients that you work with?
Yeah, I think from the legal perspective, it's interesting because there's so much unstructured data in everything that we're working with, whether it's conversations have, emails, as well as more just legal documents themselves. And there's a lot of untapped knowledge in there where artificial intelligence can certainly help unlock that and generate insights, help people summarize things. And then on the digital assets side, it seems like things are still early, but similarly, there's a lot of opportunity where, there's so much unstructured data out there when it comes to financials and various forms of assets, including digital and crypto and blockchain. And so if there are companies that are looking to build in this space and solve problems, ways that they can really do that might be finding ways to tap into the information that's out there, structure information that might be spread across a lot of different areas right now. I think another area that could be interesting and kind of combine all of these different fields together is things around fraud detection, for example, or cybersecurity and privacy, whereas conventionally a lot of these activities were done in like a rules-based way or even manually. It seems like there's an opportunity now where artificial intelligence could be used to more accurately and with fewer resources surface possible fraudulent situations, and then people who are managing that would have a lot more comfort and confidence that when they are trying to address certain situations, they know it's already been filtered well and they can devote their attention to the most critical issues. And kind of similarly, as digital assets continue to get more traction and looking to demonstrate their value to larger audiences, this seems like a great opportunity where they can kind of, from the ground up, build better security, better anti-fraud practices into their technology and into their platforms, so that as they're looking to get bigger user bases, as they're looking to be proactive in handling any kind of upcoming regulations that might be in play, they'll already have the technology and they'll already have solved some of these problems that are at top of mind for a lot of people who are looking at these areas.
That's a good point you bring up. Grayscale, one of the leading Bitcoin ETF managers, also released this thing on security where they said the intersection of AI and crypto is meant to eliminate the deepfakes that we're seeing right now that occur because of AI. So in other words, blockchain digital assets are used as the method to get around fraud, prevent fraud, eliminate fraud. And you're able to do that with decentralized identities, cybersecurity, and better data ownership. So as you mentioned, there's a lot of unstructured data out there, and what the blockchain can do is better organize that and feed it to consumers to make better informed decisions. And that's something that Zebec also focuses on the payment side. We harp a lot on security. So what we do is we're able to transfer and make payments seamlessly on the blockchain, instantaneous. You have access to it right away. And the way we do that is by harnessing the power of data and being able to clean it up efficiently and monitor for fraud and deepfakes that are now pretty widespread given the rise of AI. So that's a good point you bring up about security and AI. It's something we really try to focus on at Zebec here.
Yeah, and what you emphasized there about decentralization, I think, is a key point as well for how digital assets can support AI technologies as well. So, one example, we think about all the talk in the news right now about large models being built on data that's been scraped across the internet, and people who have created that data in the first place, especially if they're artists, might have concerns about, well, if I publish some piece of work online, is someone going to come around and copy it and use it for their own purposes? And it's really hard right now to detect if your artistic creations are being used to train an image model, or your written works are being used to train a language model. And so there might be an opportunity here in a couple ways where, one, chain-based technologies might be able to do more to provide traceability from where data is made public to where it could be used for models. Another might be to actually compensate people with even just microtransactions, but you might feel more confident if you upload your artistic or written materials to a database that has some sort of blockchain-based transactions associated with it, where other companies that are looking to train, it might be easier for them to actually give value, even if on a photo by photo or written piece by written piece level, it's not that much money, but collectively across the whole corpus of data that is associated with these assets, there could be a real market opportunity to kind of connect content creators with the people who want to train on that material and avoid some of the concerns about that material just being taken for training and later used without any compensation for the creators in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it'd give a lot of consumers peace of mind knowing that there's less of a chance of being a victim of fraud or anything like that. So that's a good point. So we briefly touched upon like one of these trends in the market, which is AI and data and privacy and fraud. What are some other views that you have on the current market and like just broader industry dynamics? What's your, let's say, 2 to 5 year outlook on the digital assets and blockchain and AI spaces?
Yeah, I think, again, it seems like the confluence of these areas is still very early, which seems like a common theme across a lot of different verticals, where a lot of the hype and attention for artificial intelligence and machine learning over the last 2 to 5 years has been on the very fundamental technologies, especially the language models that have come out since like fall of 2022. And they're just starting to be pointed towards vertical specific problems that no one could solve before or were really challenging to address before. So I think while things are still early now, I think the next couple of years, people will start identifying the really important problems that they can address with the technologies that have been developed so far. And from there, build towards real solutions that create real values. So again, in this space, whether it's things relating to fraud or privacy or better security over financials, or identifying specific problems where decentralization could be helpful, where transparency could be helpful, I think we'll start seeing real good examples of solutions that create a lot of value coming out over the next few years.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That would help pioneer the digital asset space a little more and maybe get to more widespread crypto adoption or digital asset adoption. I guess moving on then, what do you think will be like the iPhone moment for digital assets? What do you think is going to be the point where people across the world are like, okay, digital assets are here to stay. This will become more of the norm and maybe more of a shift from traditional equities to digital assets?
I'm not sure I have a great example of where that could be. My sense is almost it might not be a specific moment where all of a sudden blockchain based assets are in hundreds of millions of people's hands because of some sort of like single tool or single device that has widespread use or a lot of different benefits for a broad group of people, so much as a lot of different digital assets will start addressing specific needs for specific groups, which over time could coalesce to a level where, many people will find them useful for some specific thing that they need in their day-to-day lives. And then you'll start over time, you'll see, oh, okay, it seems like lots and lots of people, even if they're not using the same device, even if it's not like an iPhone moment necessarily, overall, blockchain is becoming a more integral part of the way they interact with the world, especially in financial situations or situations where they're transacting some sort of data that they maintain or own, or other kind of like personal information or valuable information that would be helpful to have like a robust decentralized system to support that.
Yeah, it's a great point that it might not just be one single moment. And I think we've seen that recently with the Bitcoin ETF. I think that's been a big catalyst for a lot of people starting to adopt Bitcoin and becoming more comfortable with investing in it. So I like your view on that. It's a pretty interesting take. It's not going to be a single moment. It's going to be a period of time where people have to get comfortable with it.
Yeah, going back to ETFs in general, part of their value is almost abstracting a lot of the small decisions that people would otherwise have had to make in the past if they're trying to manage a lot of different securities on a one-by-one basis. And so maybe there's an opportunity here where blockchain technologies can similarly generalize or abstract over things that people know they could get value from, but it's just challenging in their day-to-day lives to manage at such a granular level. And so having like a robust platform to manage lots of different transactions in some way could be an interesting path forward.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Well, okay, so I think that kind of wraps up our discussion. We appreciate you taking the time to join our Future Money series. We really appreciate your views on not just the legal space, but you've shared a lot of good insights on data privacy and fraud and AI. And I think that's something a lot of listeners can take into account when considering technology and tools of those sorts.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. It was a great discussion. And, I think both the two of us and all of your listeners are very excited about this space. So I'm glad to be part of the energy going here.